the drops of our drum and bass track are in a good enough spot where I think that it is time to move on and work on the cooldown section. So in drum and bass, very quickly, you kind of have a build-up intro section that gets you into the drop, and then you have a little bit of a cooldown in the middle that gets you back into a second drop, and then you end the piece really nice and snappy. So I spent the day working on the cooldown section, and it definitely needs a lot more details. I think I'm probably going to put maybe a sample here, maybe a little like this would work well with like a speech of some sort, but musically I think there's some good pieces in here, and we had to make a few things to get it to where it's at. So I'll just play it through. Here's what it sounds like coming out of the drop. I remembered I wanted to put this cut on this hi-hat. Let's see. And also, get a little bit of reverb. That hi-hat you're hearing is a few different samples we got off of Splice that we arranged just to give us a little bit of different sound, so it's not just the same exact hi-hat sound over and over again. Arranged those out for 16 bars and then bounced it down to one track here so that we could put some effects on it. And then we actually tried something that I've messed around with in the past and been kind of frustrated by, but said that's silly, I shouldn't get frustrated so easily at things. I wanted to do MIDI controlling of LFOs in ShaperBox, and so I made a MIDI channel that has ShaperBox as the instrument on it, and it's side chaining this audio that we bounced here. So we have that audio muted, and then it's actually playing through this, which is why I needed to put that channel EQ and reverb back on here, because those were things we had originally on our audio channel that I hadn't actually brought over. And the main thing I'm doing with ShaperBox is this kind of liquid shaper, which mainly is just a flanger. If I disable it here, does it play? Yeah. So this is what our hi-hat sounds like without ShaperBox. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that. I might actually turn this down a little bit, but we'll leave it up right now just so as you can see what we're doing. This LFO, just over the course of one bar, determines how much the flanger is affecting the sound. And so when it plays, you'll hear it kind of making different little flangery sort of sounds to varying levels, but you'll notice that the LFO is changing in shape, and it's alternating between one of three shapes down here that are being triggered by MIDI notes that I wrote into the channel here. And they're very simple, it's just one MIDI note per measure so that it changes. Now I only have 3 LFOs, but they are going it's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the measures are repeating kind of in 4-bar chunks. So you will hear a different LFO shape on kind of a different measure within each 4-bar chunk each time it loops, because we only have 3. I think honestly probably the better way to do this is to make 5 of them, because this started to almost create, if you're listening closely, started to create a 3 inside a 4 groove, or if you put 5, it's going to be a lot harder for the ear to track. But let's see what this sounds like if I... A little bit more of that natural hi-hat come through. The rest of what we got going on, this same choir patch with the exact same MIDI we had from earlier in the build-up section, or in the original build. Then we've got that sonar at the top, the bing sound that you heard. And this is a new bass we built. It's not particularly complex, but it's just it's got a few fun things. I kind of drew a wave shape I liked that had it was kind of like a notched pulse, like a pulsed sine wave. And then we pulsed it even more with this effect, or this knob here. And then we have the form it scale, just modulating around with some purl and randomization to give it a little bit more of a wobble to it, just a little bit of shape. And then almost everything else is just this long LFO that's bringing up this filter, and that is bringing up, is it affecting the pulse here? Yeah, it's affecting the pulse here. So the pulse, how much it's pulsed is changing, which you can see it kind of growing there. And then also this formant over here, where I just liked this sound of this formant filter, and it's just kind of slowly bringing that in as the sound goes on. I will say this sound is maybe too strong right now. Like the bass is like there, and then it just sort of like it gets louder, but I kind of want it to be a little bit less noticeable right at the beginning and then come up. So I need to maybe make that effect a little bit more strong and then pull the entire thing down a little bit. But that was a cool thing to make, and we did make this on monitors. You guys see me with headphones. I've done almost everything on headphones on this channel up until this point, but I do have two little monitors here, and I'm like, I should try using these. I've always been a little bit intimidated by monitors because the space I'm in sort of affects the sound a lot, but it is really good for when trying to like understand stereo stuff, and also there's just certain things that sound different in headphones versus on speakers, like pitch-wise even. Like, I swear this dig-a-down bass is at a slightly higher pitch on speakers than it is on big headphones. So, I don't know. It's something I want to try and get a little bit more into, and I think I need to get them set up a little bit better for me to use them. But yeah, that's something I'm going to do more in the future, and I made almost all of these sounds on speakers today. The other things I added were just these little effects down here to help us get in and out of things. Just little... that sort of stuff. Little guys like that guy, and over here we added a bunch of little ones during the drop section where things like that. Just a little ear candy that right now maybe need a little bit more processing to make them fit in. But yeah, that's all we did today. Build a bass, move some things around, build a hi-hat, and then process it and practice using MIDI triggering. So hopefully we'll be able to do that a little bit easier in the future and use that as a tool that will come more creatively and not feel like such a chore to get set up every time. Today it made a lot more sense than it did last time, and so I'm glad to see that progress. And yep, that's all I have time for today. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.